Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Verena and today I want to talk with you about what is actually happening once we set out to achieve a big goal, a dream or a vision in our life. So I'm currently in a situation where I am redefining where I want to go, redefining my goals, my dreams, my visions. And whenever this is happening, I'm defining something which is out of my comfort zone. My comfort zone is a box which has all of my programming inside, my current set of beliefs, which determine what I think I'm capable of, what I think I can achieve, the way I look, the way I move through the world. All of this is part of my comfort zone at the moment and what is actually going on in my subconscious mind. So whenever we define a goal, for example, let's say I want to publish a book. Yeah, I haven't published a book yet, so it is something outside of my comfort zone. What is going to happen when we define a goal like that? We actually need to make a plan. I don't know how yet, for example. How will this be possible that I myself am able to publish a book? So I will sit down and I ask myself, so this is my goal. I ask myself, am I capable of doing this? Yes, I'm capable. I can write. I've written articles. So I have the skill of writing. At least that's what I feel. And am I willing to do whatever it takes? Yes, I'm willing. So as this is defined, I've set my goal, things are starting to move. Yeah, and what this means is things were going to shift and happen so I can step towards my goal, which maybe starts with making a plan. Okay, every day I'm writing one paragraph for my book. After I've written the book, or maybe even in the process, I'm starting to look for a publishing company. I'm starting to look around. I'm starting to look, do I have published authors, which, for example, I have too, in my surrounding, in my friends group. So I'm starting to speak to them. What do I have to do to publish a book? How was the process for you? And obviously then, things are starting to progress even further. And that's when for most of the people, the terror barrier kicks in, yeah? Because we are going to venture out of our comfort zone. We are going to strive to aim for something which is not yet part of our self-image. I'm not yet Verena who has published a bestseller, for example, okay? So whenever that is happening, whenever we are stretching into the discomfort of the unknown, the terror barrier for, I'd say, 95% of the people kicks in. And I was just reflecting of this when I did a meditation before. In 2023, by the end of the year, I started to go very much into a new version of myself. I was meditating, I was defining where I want to be, sort of putting together an avatar of the new me. And I was really, really connecting every day with that version of myself. And what happened was shit hit the fan, and big times. I went into a phase where I felt like dying. And it sounds a little bit dramatical, but it was such a horrible phase because what was happening actually, my box of who I was vibrating. So now we come into quantum physics, was vibrating on a certain frequency with all the beliefs, all the experiences, all what I was thinking of, I was capable of, was on a certain frequency, which was here. Yeah. And now what I was bringing in was happening up there. So Bob always fly on my hand, explain it like this. You are vibrating on an X frequency. that determines your current reality. Let's say it like this. How you step out into the world, how much you earn, which relationships you have, your health, your body type, everything. And now, so I started to bring in another level, a higher level of frequency, a higher version of myself. So for a certain amount of time, these two frequencies, he calls it the X and the Y vibration, were inside of myself at the same time, and it created intense amount of chaos. I was in such a shitty state, and looking back now, I had no clue. Actually, for the first time ever today, I realized what was going on there, what was happening at that time. And it took around 2 months, and it sort of felt like I'm losing control. And I was, because the old part of myself was trying to survive the old programming, and I was sort of coming with the new programming from this side, and the old was sort of like, oh my God, if this is going to be installed, I have to die, I have to leave. And there was big, it's like, if I speak in tarot, like the 5 of Wands energy within me. And I was fighting, and I was getting so scared. I was like doubting my whole existence, doubting what I was doing. Yeah, that happens for many, many people. And then what happened for me, I was like so afraid and so scared that I let it go, that I dropped it. I dropped what I was striving for, because it was just so overwhelming. And that is what's happening. That's what's happening for many, many people. Once they really go towards this big dream, this big goal, the old programming comes in such a strong force, trying to survive. Let's say your ego is striving and fighting for survival. And that's when many, many people crumble. And I want to tell you, this is the most critical phase in creating the new you, in creating your manifestation, in realizing that you are already what you are wanting to create. And even to talk about it, it's because I'm going through it. Like, I had a couple of days, 2-3 days, where I was like, oh my God, I felt awful. And I was like doubting myself, and I was like, oh, what now? I know what's happening. You know, it's like this ginormous hand which is wanting to pull you back from where you're coming, or basically keep you where you're at right now. It doesn't want you to progress into something new, because it's the unknown, it's the uncontrollable. And it's scary once we set out for something we don't know where we end up. And I don't know if you have been in these situations, but this is where, whenever I have clients moving through this is where they're really falling back onto having me there coaching them through this, because the process is really, it's something. Yeah, it's something. That's what I can tell you. And it takes time to move through this. And what happens for many people, then they think, it's not the right thing. Because if it would be the right thing, it wouldn't be that difficult, but it's not the truth. It really is not the truth. So when this situation happens, when you really feel like, what the heck, I'm setting out to become this and this version of myself, I'm setting out to reach this goal, and then everything is starting to work against you, know that this is the terror barrier. Know that this is the old version of you trying to survive, trying to not die, because you basically installing a new program. And what you can do is then coming back to your goal. Relax, sit down, coming back to your goal, the goal you defined in the beginning, because before you ventured out on that journey, and ask yourself, is this still exciting me? is this still where I want to head towards? And for me, I can only speak for myself. For me, it's still the goal I have. So what do I need to do? I need to be very mindful with myself and really looking after myself in that process, because it's challenging, but knowing it is where I want to head to. And no journey of great success comes without overcoming obstacles. If you wanting to climb Mount Everest, you have to be really fit, and you have to know that the journey is steep, and that you will many times doubt if that was the right decision, and many times you will be out of breath, and many times you will think, I cannot do it. But then you remember why you set out on this journey. And I can only refer it back to when I walked the Camino, den Jakobsweg in German, to Santiago de Compostela. We walked many kilometers a day, I think 35 kilometers a day. And sometimes I was like, why am I doing this? This is shit. I want to give up. I had one day I was in such a bad state. And we arrived at, I'll never forget that. Makes me a little bit emotional. We arrived at the Herberge, the place we thought we're gonna sleep. After a whole day of walking, it was already 5 o'clock in the evening, only that they told us they're closed. And the next one is another 7 kilometers away. I thought I'd die on the spot. Really, I was like, I got so angry. I remember that my friend was with me, Marta, if you watch this. I was so angry. I was like, this is such a shit show. I'm not gonna go there. I hate it. And like, there's so many emotions came up in that moment. I can still feel it. I was like so overwhelmed. My body was tired that day. It was raining. It was cold. The conditions were shit. And then only to discover that person telling us that it's closed. And I was like, fuck. Sorry that I say that, and then Marta came and she's like, we can do this. And she had a very good day this day. And she said, we can do this, you can do this. And then she took her headphones, I'll never forget that. And she's like, you listen to Justin Bieber now and you not give up, we can do this. And then I remember I was walking, listening to Justin Bieber, and what can I say? I made it. We made this 7 kilometers, and we found a great place, and we went for food that night, and I was fine. But in the first moment, I thought I will not be able to make it. I was so tired, and the only thing I wanted was giving up. But luckily, I had Marta in that moment. And so in every moment, Marta was my coach in that moment. When you go out to strive for something which is so big, but your heart knows that this is your purpose, this is what you're here for, you cannot give up. And in the moments you're on the floor, Marta will come along and will put Justin Bieber on your ears. Like, I just look onto my vision board and it says, I step into my power with ease and grace. And sometimes it's easy and graceful, but sometimes it's not. And sometimes it's hard. But when you then arrive at your destination, you realize it was so worth it. And it's never, and I said that so many times, it's never about the destination. It's always who you become along, who you become on your journey. Yeah. And this life is about growth. It's about growing. It's about expanding. Everything in nature which stops to grow dies. Yeah. So there is life will always try to make you expand. Think about a baby. It comes onto this planet and it's growing every day a little bit. And sometimes it has growing pains. But it's not stopping to grow because of the growing pains. It's moving through it. That's part of life. And of course, it's also the human mind, or the ego wants us to keep where we're at because it's the safety zone. To take a sip. There is sort of, the ego thinks, now I'm at a space where I can control the environment, where I can control the outcome. And we never have control. Sorry to tell you. A part of myself would love it to be different, because for me, like, letting go is, I'm not the person who is easily letting go. Unfortunately, I'm always part of myself always, let's say like this, tried, say it's in the past. A part of myself in the past had problems to let go, because you can define yourself anew in any moment. And that's a mindset I encourage you to implement. Nothing is fixed. The only constant in your life is change, because life is ever changing, ever unfolding. I think every 7 years, all of the cells in your body have been replaced by something new. And that's interesting. Something popped up on my screen. So I need to close this. So I want to encourage you to believe in yourself. And that's something I said about the terror barrier, I said about the self-image you hold about yourself. The most important on this journey, when you set out onto your purpose, when you set out to create something big, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you are worthy of it. And it's daunting in the beginning, to record that video, even so I have recorded videos in the past. Every time in the beginning, it's like, oh my God. It's that, I'm nervous. And I think that's always going to be like that. And Bob explains it. And I love to just bring Bob, like he is such an important part of my journey. He said, for example, you now are in the X vibration, and my new image with being a publisher, a successful publisher, has a Y frequency. So at a certain time, both of these vibrations are within me, and that's when the chaos is there. But after a while, the X vibration leaves, and there's only Y present now. So this is my new me. This is now my new self-image, my new comfort zone. So for example, then I have a new goal, which, I don't know, let's say I want to make a movie. Then this becomes the Y frequency, and the publisher becomes the X frequency. So now again, I will get nervous. My terror barrier will kick in, because to become a movie producer, I need to shift into a new frequency. I maybe need to acquire new skills. You know what I mean? I hope you know. If not, please ask a question in the comment section below. And I want you to know that whatever, and I had so many discussions with friends about it, but I want you to know that you can become whatever you believe you can be. If you want to be the next Steven Spielberg and you're willing to do whatever it takes, you can do that. Yeah, and I have opened my course work, and there is something I want to read to you. And I want to encourage you or invite you to open your mind to receive what I will read to you. And this is not my knowledge, this is from Wallace D. Wattles. And it says, there is a sinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. You can form things in your thought, and by impressing your thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing you think about to be created. And I listened to this so many times, and I read this so many times. And basically what it says, if you have a thought in mind, that's the first stage of creation. You impress it onto the formless substance, which in a sense is your subconscious mind. It's connected to the universal mind, and it will be created into form, so you can see, feel, taste, touch, and hear it. That's how creation works. We create from the unseen. I always imagine it a little bit like, do you know Play-Doh? I loved to do that when I was a kid. And even I bought it for a little boy a couple of months ago, and I played with him. So you imagine taking Play-Doh and create from Play-Doh what you want. Yeah? So first you have the thought, you want to make a house. That's the first stage of creation. Then you take Play-Doh and you form the house. And that's a little bit with that. You think everything in life, this room I'm sitting in was first a thought by somebody, by my landlord. So my landlord thought, I'm going to build a house with 2 bedrooms, a pool, and a nice, beautiful garden. Then my landlord thought, so how am I going to do this? Because I'm not an architect. So she did look up an architect and said, hey, I want to create a beautiful house with 2 bedrooms, a pool, a nice garden, a nice living area. Can you design it? Then he asked her several questions. The style, the size, where she wanted to be, etc., etc. So then he drew it, and she liked it, and then they built it, and now it's here. But it was created in formless substance. It was first a thought. And that's how every process of manifestation starts within your mind. And I know you could look like one of Bob's core principles about what's the mind look like. And I want to show you, like he always explains it with the stick person. Yeah, part 1 is the conscious mind, part 2 is the subconscious mind, and part 3 is the body. The body is an instrument of the mind. The mind sits in every cell of your body. The mind controls the body. So in the moment you choose to be a different version of yourself, that one who is a publishing author of a bestseller, you have different thoughts. Just imagine whatever dream you are wanting to bring forth, and then sit back and imagine that. And in that moment, different thoughts than you have now come from the formless substance into your mind, and then your mind creates a feeling inside of your body. You feel good, you feel strong, you feel joyful and happy. And then from these feelings, your body moves into action. And that's how it works. That's why you need to come back to the vision of your dream and goal as often as possible. you need to install it into your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind makes the body move, makes the body come into action, and the actions create the results. This is how it works, basically. I hope you understood it. I hope I transferred in a way that it was easy to understand. And I really, really encourage you, if you have questions, post them underneath the video, or send me a message, send me an email, book a coaching with me. And I would love to support you on this journey, because I know it can be daunting. I know it can be scary, especially to move through the part of when we hit the terror barrier. But I also tell you, everything is possible, and so many people in history and now proved it to be. And maybe you find someone out there who is sort of an inspiration to you, who achieved what you're wanting to achieve, and connect to them. Read everything you can about their life, or listen to their YouTube videos, and bring that energy, their vibration, into your reality. So you can, whenever you are in doubt, connect to them. I do that with Bob, for example. And it always helps me to come back into the vibration I need to create the reality I want to. And yeah, with this, I'm going to close this video off. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it serves you well. And let's speak soon again. Let me know if this video served you. I want to do more of this to help you achieve your dreams, your goals, and live a life you enjoy living. Live your vision board. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day, and I speak to you soon. Bye bye.